Step into the frantic, flickering light of the year 2026, and what do you see? You see a world populated by beggars. Not beggars for bread, but beggars for attention, for validation, and for a fleeting moment of being noticed in the digital noise. People have become so terrified of being forgotten that they have made themselves desperately, pathetically accessible. They answer every chime of their phones like a servant answering a master's bell. They post their locations, their thoughts, and their very souls for anyone to consume. But Christopher knows a secret that the ancient kings and the modern masters of power have always guarded: true value is born only from scarcity. If you are always there, if you are always seen, and if you are always reachable, you are not being reliable, you are being consumed. You have become a common utility, like the air we breathe or the water from a tap. No one stops to thank the air until they are suffocating. In 2026, the most radical act of sovereignty you can perform is to withdraw your presence and become a ghost to the system. You must realize that your availability is a direct reflection of your perceived value. If anyone can reach you at any time, it means your time is worth nothing. By becoming unreachable, you are not being arrogant, you are performing an act of deep self-respect. You are reminding the world that your presence is a rare gift, a sacred privilege, and not a basic right that can be demanded by anyone with a screen and a thumb. If the world wants to find you, let them first become worthy of the search. The tragedy of the modern man lies in his frantic fear of missing out. He believes that if he is not constantly linked to the collective hive mind, he will vanish into the void of irrelevance. But Christopher observes that it is the ghost who haunts the house, not the guest who stays too long and overstays his welcome. By being everywhere at once, you dilute your very essence. You become a thin, flavorless soup that satisfies no hunger. But when you master the architecture of absence, you concentrate your power into a dense, gravitational force. Your rare appearances take on the weight of an historical event. Your few words, spoken only when necessary, take on the gravity of an ancient oracle. In the year 2026, influence is built in the dark spaces where you are not seen. You must learn the high art of disappearing into your own work, into your own deep thoughts, and into your own terrifying silence. Let the world wonder where you have gone. Let them whisper your name in the shadows of their own uncertainty. Absence is the ultimate psychological filter. It effortlessly removes the trivial noise and leaves behind only the essential core of your character. If you want to be truly remembered, you must first have the iron courage to be missed. The power of being unreachable is the power of setting the absolute terms of your own existence. You are no longer a servant to the whims of the crowd, you are the sovereign ruler of your own borders, and your border is marked by a silence that no one is allowed to break without your express permission. The architecture of influence is not constructed solely of bridges, it is built on walls with gates that only you hold the keys to. In this transparent age of 2026, the system demands that you be open, that you be authentic to the point of nakedness, and that you be connected to every soul on the planet at all times. But Christopher understands that transparency is the hallmark of the weak and the powerless. A diamond is not precious because it is found on every street corner, it is precious because it is hidden miles beneath the earth, protected by immense layers of pressure, time, and distance. If it were scattered on the sidewalk like common gravel, no one would bother to bend down and pick it up. Your time, your internal energy, and your physical location are the raw, sacred materials of your rising empire. When you grant instant, effortless access to these materials, you are effectively devaluing your own currency. To be unreachable is to put a high price on your existence. It is the profound realization that you do not owe the world your attention, your reaction, or your presence. In fact, the modern world is a professional thief that seeks to steal your focus so it can sell you back your own manufactured anxiety. By drawing a silent, unbreakable border around your life, you are reclaiming your lost sovereignty. You become the absolute commander of your own gates. You and you alone decide who is worthy to enter, who is allowed to stay, and who must be left to wait in the cold, biting wind of your indifference. This is not an act of cruelty, it is the highest and most necessary form of self-preservation. When you are difficult to find, the world begins to value the rare moments they actually encounter you. You are no longer just an option in their busy lives, you become a destination, a sanctuary, a peak that must be climbed with effort and respect. Consider the man who is always available for a drink, a chat, or a favor. He is liked, perhaps, but he is never respected. He is a tool used to fill the empty spaces in other people's lives. But the unreachable man is a mystery that demands contemplation. Christopher has seen that when you stop answering every call, people start wondering what is more important than them. They begin to realize that your world does not revolve around their needs. This realization creates a shift in the power dynamic. Suddenly, your time is perceived as a limited resource, and like any limited resource, its value skyrockets. In 2026, where everything is on demand and instant, being the only thing that is not instant is a mark of extreme status. It shows that you have something more important to do than participate in the trivialities of the masses. It shows that you are building something in the silence that is far greater than their temporary distractions. Your silence becomes a wall of mirrors, reflecting back the insecurities of those who try to reach you. They will ask themselves, why am I not enough to make him answer? And in that questioning, they are acknowledging your superiority. You have occupied their minds without saying a single word. You have become the phantom that they chase, the ghost that they can never quite catch, and thus, the person they can never truly forget. There is a deep psychological phenomenon that Christopher identifies as the ghost effect. When a person is constantly present, we naturally begin to judge them by their flaws, their petty mistakes, and their boring commonality. We see them too clearly, and thus, we see their limitations. But when a person disappears, the human imagination, which is far more powerful than reality, takes the lead. In the absence of information, the mind begins to amplify your strengths and romanticize your mystery. In the year 2026, if you truly wish to occupy the minds of others, you must first have the discipline to leave the room. Your absence does the psychological heavy lifting that your presence never could achieve. While others are exhausted, posting their every move and every meal, desperate to stay relevant in an ever-scrolling feed, you are becoming a dark legend in the silence you have created. They wonder where you are. They wonder who you are with. They wonder what world-shaking plans you are forging in the shadows of your seclusion. This uncertainty is not just a feeling, it is a powerful form of mental occupation. You are living in their thoughts, free of charge, because you have refused to give them the closure of your presence. This is the true alchemy of absence. You turn your mortal self into an immortal myth. By being unreachable, you force the world to deal with the version of you that exists in their own conscience. You become a mirror of their own hidden desires and insecurities. The more you pull away, the more the primitive part of their brain is programmed to reach out. It is a fundamental law of the universe, we only truly chase that which retreats from us. Stop being the one who is always doing the chasing, and start being the deep, dark mystery that the entire world is trying to solve. In the silence of your absence, your power grows 10 times faster than it ever could in the noise of your participation. The relentless noise of the year 2026 is a carefully designed prison. It is meant to keep you shallow, to keep you reacting, and to keep you tethered to the surface of existence. The endless notifications, the meaningless scrolls, and the pathological need to stay updated are the invisible chains that bind the common man to a life of mediocrity. Christopher teaches that true depth, the kind of depth that creates empires and changes history, is only found in the soundless depths where the crowd cannot breathe. This is the primary reason why you must become unreachable. You do not just need a few hours of quiet, you need days, weeks, and months where no soul can find you except your own reflection. This is where the great work is done. This is where the strategies are forged that will eventually shatter the illusions of your rivals. When you have the courage to disconnect from the collective hive mind, you cease to be a passive consumer and you finally become an active creator. You stop being a victim of the world's news and you start becoming the architect of your own. Being unreachable is not a luxury, it is the ultimate mark of a man who is so secure in his own intrinsic value that he does not require the constant, artificial ping of a notification to feel that he is alive. Your phone, your computer, your social connections, these are tools designed for your convenience, not leashes designed for your neck. Break the leash. Step into the cold, clear silence of your own mind. Find the version of yourself that only reveals its face when the world is finally, mercifully, and absolutely quiet. In that silence, you will hear the voice of your own genius, a voice that has been drowned out for years by the screams of the unimportant. Listen to it. It is the only map you will ever need to reach the throne that is waiting for you. As we bring this 43rd lesson to its inevitable conclusion, you must understand that the ultimate goal is not to become a hermit or a monk, but to become a sovereign architect of your own destiny. You do not disappear because you are afraid of the world, you disappear so that you may return with a power that the world can neither understand nor resist. You become unreachable so that when you finally choose to be reached, that connection carries the weight of a royal decree. In the year 2026, your absence is perhaps the most lethal weapon in your psychological arsenal. It is the final, undeniable signature of your absolute independence. When you eventually choose to step back into the flickering light of society, you do not come as a beggar pleading for a scrap of attention. You return as a king returning to his rightful court after a long and mysterious campaign. People will hang on your every word with a new, breathless intensity because they know, deep down, that you do not have to be there. They know that at any moment, you could vanish once again into the shadows of your own making. This knowledge creates a quality of preciousness, a sense of high-stakes importance in your every look, your every gesture, and your every interaction. Christopher stands in the quiet shadows of the harbor, watching as you turn your back on the noise of the masses, and he smiles a cold, knowing smile. He knows that the man who can be truly alone, the man who can exist in absolute silence, and the man who can remain unreachable is the only man who can ever truly lead. The world, in all its chaotic glory, belongs only to those who have the iron will to leave it behind for a while. Go now. Disappear into the depths of your own greatness. Let the world wait. Let them wonder. Let them wait in the silence you have created. The lesson is finally complete. The silence is your new home. Your empire begins in the dark space where they can no longer find you. Stay unreachable. Stay sovereign. Stay powerful.